Hi, my name is Donna Noble, and you are listening to The Noble Art of Wellbeing. Today I have the pleasure of interviewing Michele Pernetta, who is widely regarded as one of the UK's leading yoga teachers. So welcome, Michele, and thank you for agreeing to be on the show today.
Thank you very much.
So Michele, first and foremost, I'd like you to tell the listeners a little bit about yourself. Firstly, how you got into yoga.
Well, I got into yoga when I lived in Los Angeles. I was a martial arts fanatic and had gradually ruined both my knees. And I had never really been interested in yoga, but I'd heard that there was a man that was very good at healing knee issues. So his name was Bikram. So I thought rather than have surgery, I'd go along and see what it was all about. And I was actually quite impressed with what I saw in the room. Lots of people sweating and working hard and being told jokes and what have you. And to cut a long story short, it started helping my knees quite quickly. And over the course of the next couple of years, I gradually basically got my knees to the point where I thought they were better than they were before I'd had the injury.
Oh, excellent. So that's an excellent way to get in. And what was your first class like, actually, Michele?
Well, I watched the first class in the back, and afterwards I talked to Bikram, and he said that I should just come along. So 2 weeks later, I don't know, I had maybe been avoiding going. 2 weeks later, I went, and he'd remembered my name, actually, which I was quite impressed with. And he said, come and do the class in front of him, and he'd tell me whether he thought he could help me or not.
Oh, excellent.
And I was really fit, or so I thought. I was conventionally fit. I could run around with a man on my back in the martial arts room. I could do, 50 push-ups, 300 sit-ups. I was really, training every day. I was really serious. And it was quite a humbling experience to do something new and be rubbish.
And what a contrast.
Rubbish.
Yeah, and what a contrast, though, to think that you did martial arts. And obviously you just displayed a very impressive array of things that you could do. And to go to yoga, which some people think, it's not very challenging at all. So that's a very good way to highlight and show that.
It is, because it's not about conventional fitness, which is about stamina and muscular strength. It's actually about the health of your joints and the integration of the muscles with the joints. Mm-hmm. So very quickly I realised that my knee problems weren't really knee problems. It was a whole body problem.
Okay.
A knee problem is usually a flat foot, weak leg, imbalanced muscles or ligaments in the leg, hip problem, or even spine problem. The knee is very weak, so it will take the stress from other places. So very quickly realised that I was much worse off than the average person in that class, and even people in their 60s and 70s, they were doing awesome things in the front, and I was, I couldn't even bend my knee really more than about 5 or 6 inches. So I thought that he would tell me to go away and never come back, but he didn't. So I started going. He said I had to go every single day, which is what I did.
Yeah. And
gradually my body started to get a little bit more into alignment.
Okay. And that was that in LA?
That was in LA in about, I hate to let everyone know how long ago. It was probably about 1990.
Oh, really? As long as that. So a long time. So obviously you've been a practitioner of Bikram yoga. So what's your path? You discovered Bikram in America. And I've been told that basically, Michele, it's widely known that you're the first person to bring Bikram yoga to the UK.
Yes, and it wasn't my intention at all. I had no intention of teaching yoga and no interest in teaching it, in fact. However, I when I left Los Angeles, Bikram suggested I teach, and I basically gave him very short shrift and said, no, thank you very much. It's not anything I'm interested in. See you around.
Yeah.
And when I came back to London, I thought, well, there must be something as good as that round here, I naively thought. So I went and looked and did every class there was. This was in 94. And I didn't find anything that was any good at all, to my mind. It was all a little bit soft and slow, and I was quite energetic and wanted something a bit stronger. So we just started doing it in my living room, my husband and me and some of the friends that we had come visit us in Los Angeles. And that's how a class sort of started. It was just us doing it together and putting the fire on, having a couple of cups of hot water or having a hot bath before and doing the class. And basically what happened was people started bringing their friends. So we moved it to a little studio one night a week. And then when that became full, we moved it to 2 nights a week and then 3 nights a week. So I was working in the daytime. I was a fashion designer.
Yeah.
And then I would rush over there in the evening with my heaters in the back of the car, and we would do 3 nights a week that class. Gradually, I couldn't practice it so much anymore. I had to keep turning around and teaching and correcting. And that's how I got to teach by accident, just sort of correcting the people that were coming along to do a group class with us.
Okay, so at that stage, then you had no sort of formal teaching at that point? You hadn't...
No, at that point, all I'd had was, which I basically think was the best training I could ever have had, better than a teacher training, was listening to him, to Bikram. He taught every single day, and I went to his class every single day after work, and I listened to him teach the public for over 4 years and heard him deal with every kind of thing that anyone would come to class with, from bad backs to knees to lazy people to rude people to, whatever. And I basically used that until such time that I decided to open a studio, which I didn't even want to run back then. I was like, I'm not going to run it. Someone else needs to run it. I got my fashion career. So I opened a school, and at that point I went and did the teacher training.
Oh, okay. When was that, Michele, that you went to do the teacher training?
That was in 1999.
1999, okay. And then basically, did you come back and open your first studio, or did you just...
Yes, the studio was being built while I was on the training. And so I came back, and one of my students had also done the training. She was going to run the school, and that's how I was persuaded to do it, because I still had no interest in having a yoga school. But I always was passionate about people knowing that they didn't necessarily need surgery. And that's why I had wanted to start that class and wanted people to know about it, because I had so many martial arts friends with having knee replacements or, cruciate ligament replacements or surgery, that I just thought people should know that at least to try this before having surgery. Try yoga, before you take that step. Because even if you do need it, at least if you've done yoga before, the recovery is much quicker, and the yoga will be the rehabilitation anyway. So I've been interested in health since a young age.
Okay.
My parents were very alternative, doing every strange thing there was to do all through my childhood. So that was always a big passion of mine. I just didn't realise it was going to end up with me teaching and being able to use yoga as the forum within which I used all of that knowledge.
Yeah. So you sort of fell into teaching quite accidentally, but it's obviously had a major impact on your life. You're studying fashion. How did you make the transition from fashion into teaching? Did you do it on a full-time basis?
Yes, I did. I never wanted to stop it at that time. I had spent, my whole life becoming good at it, and I just got into the film industry and was, doing costumes for films and loved it. And it was just that when I opened the first school, the North Studio, the lovely teacher that I did it with said she would manage it, and I had put all the money in at that point. So when it turned out that she was just a little bit too shy to do the things that you need to do as a manager, which are, tell people off when they rip you off, or don't fix the plumbing properly, or don't pay their bills, or she was a little bit too shy, and so I had to step in. Also, we were only 2 teachers trying to teach 18 classes a week, so it's quite hard to work full-time and teach 8 classes a week, and if she was ill, I'd have to teach 18 classes. So I managed it for 2 years.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
I'd be on a film shoot or something, and it was my turn to teach, and they were still filming late. I would have to leave and say, well, I've got 20 people waiting for me or whatever. Or sometimes my mum used to go with the boom box and put on the CD and just say, Michele can't make it, you're all going to have to do it to the CD. That was back when we had no competition. um, so we could get away with being a little bit less professional occasionally. But gradually I just couldn't keep the two